Nation. I am your host, Erin, and I am flying solo today. Steve Post is on his way to Daytona, and Ashley's off doing some dirt modified stuff. So here I am. So we're going to call this Winging It Wing Nation because I'm not a talker like my usual host, Steve, is. So we're just going to have a little fun on the show today. We are going to interview Donnie Kreitz Jr. from the PA Posse, see what things are like up north, getting ready for the season. And we're also going to talk to Carson Macedo from the World of Outlaws. Hefner Racing Products Hot Topics. We're finally racing. Volusia. We had 3 different winners. We had Donnie Schatz, Sheldon Hodenshield, and David Gravel picking up the wins for the World of Outlaws. And then last night, Tyler Courtney was over at East Bay with the All-Stars and opened their season opener. He won. So those are our Hefner Racing hot topics. And Hefner Racing Products is easy to shop the entire line of Hefner Racing products. HRPRacing.com from desktop or right on your phone. And first-time online orders, you can use promo code MRN at checkout for 10% off your first order. We're going to take a quick break, and we have Donnie Kreitz Jr. already on the line waiting for us.
Sage Fruit is a premium grower, packer, and shipper of Washington tree fruit. Apples, pears, and cherries, and it's always an exceptional eating experience, and they're grown in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. High-quality fruit, exceptional flavor, healthy snacking. Make sure when you go to your local grocery store, ask for Sage Fruit. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking.
Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing and support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. And on orders over $20, use promo code MRN for free shipping. Check them out, circlebdiecast.com. Welcome back. This is Wing Nation. We're going to go right to the Sage Fruit hotline. First, we're going to speak with the owner of the 69K, Donnie Kreitz Jr. Hello, Donnie. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to be here.
Yeah. So tell us about the off season. What is it like for you? I know you have some chassis seminars, but what is the off season like for you guys prepping for the season?
Well, normally like the week after the last race, there's a flea market we usually do in Carlisle that's pretty big with the parts store. Then we have one here a few weeks later in the beginning of January. We have the chassis class seminar, and in between that, usually get carts and stuff ready to sell. So we normally get a late start on, working on everything really for the race team. But we're pretty good now. We could be ready within a week if we needed to be. So it's normally busy. It just never slows down whether you're racing or you're working.
Donnie, you mentioned the parts business. That's kind of been a hot topic in our sport, really, in the world right now with the supply chain issues. Are you guys seeing that in the sprint car world with your parts, or are you guys a little bit enough ahead that it hasn't become a problem?
No, it's a definite problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you because of that, we have the most inventory we've ever had since we've been in business, just
Wow.
trying to stay. As soon as we can get something, we overstock on it. The problem is, naturally, other people are doing that too. So now the manufacturers, when they have something, they only have it for a day or two, and then they're out of it. And then, and they don't know that they're going to run out of it that soon. They're not expecting this many orders, and they run out of it. And then it's because it's a problem getting materials and everything else, then it's 4 months till they have it back in stock.
Man, that's a snowball issue. Then it just keeps adding on to each other. So as far as the race car goes and the race team, are there any specific parts that you're seeing that you can't get or you foresee it becoming a problem as the season goes on?
Steerings have been a problem to get since the end of 2020, I'm going to say, from about November. rears, we've been able to get rears, but it's just been a lot longer than it would normally take. This time of year, both the main companies that make rears, they're on 12 weeks.
Wow.
So that's 3 months. So and we can't even. I think we do have 5 here now, but we can't keep any, in stock naturally. And guys, they kind of got to almost take what you have. We try and keep as many different configurations as we can, but it's hard to do nowadays. You kind of just try and get whatever you can.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, we sure hope that somehow works itself out as the season goes on. When you look at your season coming up, you guys announced a 30, 35 or so race schedule. What are the thoughts going into the season? How is Davey feeling? How are you feeling? How's Lance feeling? What are your thoughts going into 2022?
Lance is good. I'm good. Davey's probably better than both of us. So he's in the best shape of anyone on the whole team. I can guarantee you that. But he always says for the past, and I don't even know how many years, he's probably since he's been 70 and he's 88 now. I think since then he's told me he's week to week, pending his health. But his doctor tells him when he goes for a checkup, all he tells him is that he's not normal because he's in such good shape for his age. So, but anything can happen when you're at that age. But he actually rebuilt. We have one of his engines yet. The rest of them are riders, and he actually rebuilt it. He wanted to rebuild it over the winter. So we're actually picking it up. I have someone's picking it up today. So Davey's always gung ho to go. He's really into it. So he said he's going to make it, every week he can, not unless, something bad happens to him.
Man, he sure is amazing. I interviewed Dave Blaney a few weeks back for our podcast, and we were talking about, he was talking about racing as you get older and his perception. And I was saying, well, how is Lance still so good? And one of the things he said, well, he's Lance, but he also said Davey. He gave Davey a lot of credit. What is it about Davey Brown that has, obviously so much success over the years, but still, like you said, at 88, still ticking, still rebuilding motors? What is it about him that just makes him so talented?
Well, I'm going to say the number one, besides he's just so smart and thinks about things that most guys don't think about on the car and naturally thinks about it all the time. He just is such a blue collar, hard worker, whatever's, a tedious thing. Now because he lives an hour and a half, he doesn't really work, just say in our race car shop. But he'll come down a few times a year and maybe, he wants to try something. We'll mess around with the car on scales or something like that. But anything that is tedious, no matter what has to be done, he just gets after it and does not, no matter how small it is, does not skip over it, does not want to take shortcuts on anything. I mean, he just gets the job done.
Yeah. Dave Blaney said that he remembered a time in Victory Lane at Hagerstown. This is years back, where he said he looked behind him and there was Davey staring at the rear of his car, analyzing everything like he doesn't miss any detail. And he also talked about him watching a race car. What is it that obviously he can see what a race car is doing without having to get any feedback. But at his age, that attention to detail is it's amazing.
It is. And, I'll catch him every now and then on on stuff, but I'd still say his memory's way better than mine at this point, but he is amazing. And, he definitely does not miss too much. He has a knack, for watching the cars, which again is amazing to me. To me, it's so much easier to crew chief a car if you've driven one,
Mm-hmm.
and you would know that naturally, Erin. You know what feel kind of you liked, and as you watch, you can kind of correlate it maybe. But for Davey, I've never driven a sprint car, to still kind of be able to do that, I just think it's amazing.
It truly is. So I also want to switch topics a little bit. I read that your daughter Cassidy is going to possibly run some 410 races this year. Talk about life as is not only car owner but dad. Because now I have a daughter who's racing, or not racing, she's riding ponies, and I have to tell you, it's so nerve wracking watching your child do something versus being the one in the seat. What is that like to see her grow and progress and get her first shot to run some 410 races this year?
It's fun, it's neat, but it's exactly like you said. At the same time, it's very stressful. Even though it is like a fun family thing to do, and because we do, sprint car racing, that's what we do. It's very fun. It's very stressful. She works hard at it and does most of the stuff on her car. I'll do a couple things here or there, but she really does most of it and tries to keep herself in shape, and she's looking forward to it. She was just I don't want to say tired. I mean, she's like anyone else that races, especially younger. She wants to race 100 times a year. She knows it's not in the cards because, we're going to run with Lance at all the races. So, she's going to get what's left out of that. But, it's going to be tough. First off, going to 410. Second off, only running. She'll probably realistically only get out maybe 8 or 10 times, I'm going to say. Maybe if we can get some practices somewhere, we'll do that. But, she'll do the best she can do. She's smart, probably start in the back in the beginning till she feels like, that she's comfortable and up to speed. Actually, I should probably get your number and I should have her call you for for tips on what to do.
Yeah, us females are a little more difficult.
Yeah.
You mentioned that she'd like to be running 100 races a year. Is that the goal for her long term, to be a full-time 410 sprint car racer?
I'm sure it was till I told her it's probably not practical. I had to be the person to do that, So, I told her she needs to concentrate on her job. She went to college and she has a good job, and that we can still race and, do a fun thing. But as far as that being your career or hoping to be a full-time World of Outlaw driver and getting paid, it's probably not in the cards. I just think that would be a stretch.
Well, maybe you should give her my number and maybe I can give her that advice to talk her into that.
That sounds good.
Donnie, we really appreciate your time. We wish you and Lance and Davey and Cassidy and the whole team the best of luck this season. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Erin.
Awesome. That was Donnie Kreitz Jr. joining us from Pennsylvania. We'll have more Wing Nation in just a minute. Just like racing components, Aggressive Hydraulics purpose builds hydraulic cylinders to perform for customer-specific applications. They design and manufacture mobile-style, single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Hydraulic solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. They proudly design and manufacture all cylinders in the United States. Check out the video of their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Sage Fruit is a premium grower, packer, and shipper of Washington tree fruit. Apples, pears, and cherries, and it's always an exceptional eating experience, and they're grown in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. High-quality fruit, exceptional flavor, healthy snacking. Make sure when you go to your local grocery store, ask for Sage Fruit. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking.
Welcome back to Wing Nation. Up next on the Sage Fruit Hotline, we have Carson Macedo, driver of the Jason Johnson number 41. Carson, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be on again.
Yeah, so tell us about, we'll start off with your off season. You were one of the very few drivers that went down to Australia. Tell us about, first of all, I want to know about the quarantine experience and then just your time down there altogether.
Yeah, so believe it or not, things got a little bit better in the last few months prior to me going there. And I didn't have to quarantine at all. I did 72 hours at Sean and Felicity Dyson's house, which to me wasn't really quarantine anyway, because I probably would have been there hanging out anyways. But just the process to get over there was really challenging, trying to get all the visas approved and jumping through all the hoops that they, wanted me to jump through in order to prove that I obviously didn't have COVID and that I was going over there to not spread it around, I guess. So overall, though, it was a great trip. I'm Sean and Felicity. I've been going over there for this past year was my 6th season, and it's just a great way for me to catch up with people that are like family to me. Sean, Felicity, their kids, Peyton and Cruz, and also stay in the seat and keep racing while everybody else is in off season.
Yeah, there's one thing I wanted to ask you. I feel like every year we've talked to drivers about going to Australia and staying on top of their racing game. But at one point it became most drivers were doing something in the off season. But this off season, other than Chili Bowl and the Tulsa Shootout, you were really one of the few drivers who got to race all winter long. Do you think that really will be an advantage now that we got the season underway here?
I mean, I definitely think that it always is an advantage to just stay in the seat and keep as much seat time as possible. But more than anything, just for me, it's just a way to, just stay sharp, stay in shape. And then obviously Australia is a beautiful country. So do a little vacationing and have some fun with Sean and Felicity. And I do think that it helps. I know James McFadden was there racing with me as well. Obviously, he's from there. So it was a little bit easier for him to get back and forth. But I do think it's a huge advantage. And it's a lot of the reason why I do it in the off season is just to stay on top of it. And I feel like it's helped me progress in my career quicker than maybe some other drivers have been able to, just because I've never stopped racing. Like, in the last 6 years, I've never really had an off season. So last year, because of COVID, I guess it was probably my closest thing to an off season, but we still did quite a bit of racing, going down to Arizona and running some 410 stuff and Chili Bowl and running midget races at the end of the year. And I stayed pretty busy. So I do love going down there, and I'm glad that it was able to all work out.
So you kicked off the season with the World of Outlaws this past weekend at Volusia. You had a couple of solid runs. Talk about how nice it was to get back with Philip and the team and to get things underway here in the U.S.
Yeah, it was great. We JJR's worked extremely hard in the off season to build a first class organization, and with Dennis Albaugh, and coming on board as a major sponsor of ours for this year was pretty exciting. And I just feel like everything was so well prepared, like as expected. Philip Dietz is incredible. Him and Brooke have done a great job taking over reins as the car owner of JJR. And then obviously on the crew chief side of things, Phil is one of the best. So Clyde Knipp, Nate Repitz are our other two guys and that make up our team. And it was just exciting to get going. I feel like it was a bit of a bummer to have those all-star races rain out prior to the Outlaw season starting at Volusia, but just felt like, the first night was really different than we have ever seen. It was really, really rough and heavy. And, I ended up running out of tear-offs late in the race. And it was probably not exactly the start that we were sort of hoping for. But the second night had a really good night, charged from 16th to 4th, and then the third night ended up 10th. So probably not exactly the start that we were hoping for as a team. I think we were, last year we left Volusia leading the points after East Bay. So, your expectations are high, and you're hoping that is the case again. It's not this year, but, I know that we have a really good team, and I believe in my guys and our equipment and our sponsors, and I know they believe in us, and I think that we can overcome that in weeks to come here.
Now, going into this season, did you and the team look back at 2021, and you had a great season with the World of Outlaws last year, but are there parts of your program that you analyze and you hope to work on this season?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to get better, right? We just have our racetracks that I feel like we have a really strong package at, and then I feel like there was, probably 2 or 3 racetracks where we actually sat down and said, look, we need to go try and do some testing there, or just try and make that a strength in our schedule instead of we just need to go there and get through this place. So, there's just you're always going to look back, and at the end of the year, you kind of evaluate, okay, well, here's how our season went, and here's the difference maker. This is what's going to get us to that next level to maybe compete against Brad and David, and be able to overcome, that beating them maybe. So running third in the points last year, I thought was really respectable. We won 11 races and had a lot of success. So there was a lot of things to celebrate and to definitely be proud of. But at the same time, you want to improve on those weaknesses. Another for me was just finishing. Brad last year finished every single lap that of every single World of Outlaw race throughout the whole schedule. I think that's really important in order to bank those points and win a World of Outlaws Championship. So ultimately, that's our goal at JJR, and that's what we strive to do. So, for me, it's just finishing all the laps, putting together consistent runs, and of course, winning races. Like, you're never having fun if you're not winning. So ultimately, we want to win as many races as we can, but just put a lot of emphasis on finishing all the laps and improving on those weaknesses, some of those tracks that maybe we don't feel like our strong suits are right now.
It's amazing to me when you talk about you just wanting to finish laps and complete races. When you get to that top group and finish third in points, it's every single detail that you now have to pay attention to because the competition's so tough, isn't it?
Yeah, and you look back through the year and you always have those nights, right? Like, oh, well, if we this wouldn't have happened and that wouldn't have happened. And you start adding them up and you're like, well, there's the difference, So it's just a tight battle and it's easy to get behind because everybody's so good every night.
Yeah. You mentioned your new sponsor, Alba, earlier in the conversation. Tell us a little bit about them. It's always great for our sport to see new companies and new sponsors involved.
Yeah, so they're an Iowa-based company. They actually sell farming chemicals, such as like Roundup and chemicals similar to that. Dennis has just been a fan of the sport and approached Phil last year about coming on board as a sponsor, and came on board last year in a small way and got involved, and then ended up in the off season putting together a deal with Philip to be our primary sponsor on our car this year. So like you said, it's always good to see sponsors come into the sport, but especially when they come in at that kind of magnitude, I think it is really important for sprint car racing. And I think sprint car racing as a whole is in a really good spot. With Dirt Vision and Flow and all these streaming services nowadays, a guy like Dennis Albach can get involved and watch every single race, no matter where he's at. If he's at dinner on the beach or at his house, or it doesn't really matter. You can tune in on your phone and watch every lap. So I know that's really important for all of our sponsors at JJR, and I'm sure other teams share that same enthusiasm when it comes to those streaming services. And then we're just talking about this morning with my trainer Drew Mattis. A lot of these cup drivers are now getting involved, and I think that's going to hopefully drive more views to our sport as well. We had Alex Bowman at Volusia there at the end of the year. Chase Elliott ran one of these cars here at Tarleton Racing, and then obviously Kyle coming back and racing all the time. So I just think our sport's in a really good spot. We have a lot of huge naming rights sponsors, I feel like, coming on board, and I think it's only going to get bigger and better. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I would certainly have to agree. Carson, when you look at the 2022 World of Outlaws season, are there any particular races or areas of the country that you have circled? We know Knoxville and Eldora and, Williams Grove are always big ones, but are there some other races that are important to you this year that you are looking forward to?
Yeah, I just think, it's hard to not think about the big financial races, but, I think that the Huset's race is going to be a really big deal. They're paying $100,000, Todd Queering and Huset Speedway. Then the Jackson Nationals is also going to be a big event. We always look forward to the National Open, the like you said, the Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royal. I think the adding of the historical big one at Eldora is going to be a really cool event. And then Brad Sweet, Kyle Larson, and my buddy Kobe Copeland have taken over Silver Dollar Speedway, and they're going to bring back, I think the old Gold Cup, hopefully, that we knew before at Chico, where, it was just such a big event. It paid more money. It was over the course of more days. And I just think that that's exciting for somebody that grew up in California and has always seen Gold Cup as such a big event. And then the Skagit Nationals, I feel like that was a huge event last year. We saw a lot of fans turn up and sold out crowd all 3 nights. So yeah, I just think that, we just left Volusia and, it was 3 nights of just absolutely packed crowds and tons of people there. I've never seen that big of a crowd there. Hard to get in and out of the pits with that. So many people walking around. It was just really good to see. So, like I said, I think our sport's in a good spot. I think more people are watching than ever, and it's good to see. It really is exciting to see it just get such recognition lately.
It certainly is. Well, Carson, we always appreciate your time. We look forward to watching you this season, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on always.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That was Carson Macedo, who just joined us. There'll be more Wing Nation in just a minute.
Circle B Diecast is the new diecast outlet from Plan B Sales. What started as a Lionel and Chase Authentics apparel distributor has grown into the largest distributor of diecast and now includes Auto World, Greenlight Collectibles, Brand Art, Sam Bass Artwork, and University of Racing Lines. They have a huge inventory. The folks at Circle B Diecast love racing, and they support drivers like Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Christopher Bell, and many others with sponsorships and partnerships. On orders of $20 or more, use promo code MRN for free shipping. You can check them out at www.circlebdiecast.com.
Aggressive Hydraulics provides solutions for virtually every industry that uses hydraulic cylinders. For instance, agriculture, construction, defense, emergency services, energy, food processing, forestry, marine, mining, railway, and even truck equipment. They design and manufacture mobile-style single-stage cylinders as well as multi-stage telescopic cylinders. It's a no one-size-fits-all approach with Aggressive Hydraulics. Check out their story at aggressivehydraulics.com.
Engines 410. It's the 14th raffle car they've had, and all proceeds go to the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. It's $20 per ticket, or $6 for 100. And this is a biannual drawing, so this drawing will be this December of 2022. Go to www.sprintcarhof.com for more information. Well, that about wraps it up for today. As I said before, this was going to be a winging it version of Wing Nation without Steve, because I'm not nearly as talkative. And I want to just mention to check out all our social media pages of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. All of our old shows are on there. And as we've mentioned previously this year, we have a new thing on Thursdays with our podcast. I'm going to be doing one called As You Know. It's my first one with Dave Blaney is already available to go watch. Then we have The Post Office, which is Steve's show. And he already has one with Wayne Johnson. And Ashley's got some fun stuff in the works for her show. So make sure you check out our Thursday podcast. And I just want to thank, again, Donnie Kreitz Jr. and Carson Macedo for joining us today. But more importantly, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to me flying solo today on Wing Nation.